Doom the Dark Ages isn't shy about pushing your hardware. It combines ray-traced lighting, high-resolution textures, and dense particle effects, as well as huge battle scenes that can easily overwhelm weaker graphic cards. Add DLSS 4 and NVIDIA Reflex into the equation, and I was curious to see how far modern AI-powered tech can go while fighting endless hordes of demons. I installed an ASUS ROG Strix GeForce RTX 5070 Ti and decided to make an experiment. With the high-quality preset enabled in the game, I ran 3 tests in each of the following resolutions: 1080p, 1440p, and 4K. Before showing you the benchmark results, let me introduce the system that powered my demon slaying experience. At 1080p with native rendering, the ASUS ROG Strix GeForce RTX 5070 Ti delivered 140 FPS. Switching to DLSS 4 balanced mode raised performance to 182 FPS, which is a 30% increase over the native experience. Adding frame generation pushed the frame rate to 269 FPS, which means an impressive 90% boost compared to native rendering. Not using Reflex resulted in a system latency of 24 milliseconds. Enabling Reflex dropped it to 19 milliseconds, a 21% reduction. The Reflex set to boost kept it at 19 milliseconds as well. When using the 1080p resolution, everything feels instant and highly responsive, and the graphics card I'm using is definitely overkill. Switching to 1440p resolution with native rendering, the graphics card managed an average of 100 frames per second. DLSS 4 in balanced mode increased it to 150 FPS, a 50% uplift. With frame generation enabled, the frame rate climbed to 208 FPS, making a 108% increase compared to native rendering. The difference becomes noticeable, especially when hordes of enemies fill the screen and the action heats up. System latency at 1440p resolution started at 34 milliseconds when not using NVIDIA's Reflex feature. Turning it on lowered it to 23 milliseconds, a 32% drop. Reflex Boost maintained the same 23 milliseconds. At 4K resolution, running Doom the Dark Ages on native rendering offered 53 frames per second on average. Activating DLSS 4 balanced mode pushed performance to 95 FPS, a 79% improvement. With frame generation also enabled, the frame rate climbed further to 137 FPS, delivering a 158% increase over native rendering. For a game like Doom, where high frame rates keep the action going, this level of performance at 4K is very satisfying. System latency at 4K resolution without Reflex was 66 milliseconds. Enabling Reflex brought it down to 38 milliseconds, cutting it by 42%. Reflex Boost kept it at 38 milliseconds. Although latency is naturally higher at 4K resolution, Reflex still makes a clear difference in keeping the in-game controls responsive. Even with all the performance boosts from DLSS 4 and frame generation, the visuals in Doom the Dark Ages remain impressively good looking. I could barely spot any differences compared to native rendering while playing. On top of that, Reflex plays a subtle but important role. It cuts down system latency just enough to make aiming and weapon switching feel even more responsive, especially in the middle of chaotic fights where every moment matters. Doom the Dark Ages is an interesting mix of old-school action and brand new approaches. The combat is fast like the previous Doom titles accustomed us, yet the medieval setting brings something fresh to the series. As you've seen, the ASUS ROG Strix GeForce RTX 5070 Ti can handle the game easily, at every resolution. I like playing at 4K, but that means using NVIDIA's DLSS 4 technology to get the high frame rates necessary for a fun experience on a gaming monitor with a high refresh rate. All went very well for me, but the GeForce RTX 5070 Ti is a capable graphics card, so that was to be expected. That's it for this video. Before you go, I would like to know what graphics card you're using to play Doom the Dark Ages. Is it a new model like the GeForce RTX 5070 Ti I've been using, or an older card from 2 or 3 generations ago? Head over to the comments and let me know. I'm Ciprian Rusen from Digital Citizen, and I thank you for watching. Goodbye!